You're live.
Hi everyone, welcome to our Gosport Facebook Live event. I'll do some instructions. My name is Marcus Kennedy. I'm the District Commander for Fareham and for Gosport. To my left I've got
Jabba Shadan, Inspector here at Gosport.
And also to my right I've got
I'm Shaylin, I'm PCSO from Gosport.
Brilliant. So the process for tonight is, by all means, throw some questions into the feed as we go along, and my man behind the camera, which is Lee, he later on will read out some of those questions and we'll try and answer those as best as we can. Remember this is a two-way event, so we'll try and answer those questions as honest as we can, but please remember to be polite in the chat feed underneath, and we'll get through that bit. And we'll try and answer all those questions as we go through. It's about a 45-minute session, and hopefully it will flow through naturally and you'll feel as though we're answering the questions you want. So a couple of bits I just wanted to address really is, the main thing is about policing in Fareham and Gosport, specifically Gosport. A lot of people seem to think that, when you see a police officer, they've got one kind of general role. But actually in Gosport, what you'll find is we've got response officers who are based out of Fareham Reach, and their job is to go to 999 calls 24/7. So they're always about going to those really, really urgent calls. What you've also got is your neighbourhood team based down here at Gosport in the council building. And their job is to relate to local crime and do some engagement. So that's the team that Jabba looks after, and you've got PCs there and PCSOs, which is one of the roles that Shaylin does. So just to give you some context, what we've also got is a dedicated CID team, so that the detectives that look after some of the serious crimes across Gosport, and they're based at Fareham Reach as well. So not so long ago, they were based in the city in Portsmouth, but a while ago we thought, well, that model doesn't really work. You should have your own dedicated CID team, and they work out Fareham Reach, and they're really, really good. So you've got your response teams, you've got your neighbourhoods teams, which are based here, and you've also got CID teams as well. So having done that bit, what we want to do is start covering off. We had a few questions that come in already, so I'm going to go through a few of those questions, give Jabba and Shaden the chance and the test to see if they can answer some of them as well as me, and we'll go from there. So just going through, we had a question from Mandy who asked, is there any chance of getting traffic calming measures put in along Chirk Way? And she describes how busy it gets there. So one of the biggest questions we get asked is about the antisocial behaviour of vehicles, and what can we do about it? So yes, in theory, you can put traffic calming measures. That's like making the road a bit thinner, putting speed humps in, speed cameras. A lot of that, if not all of it, is responsibility of the council, but we work really close to the council. So in answer to your question, yes, we look at lots of areas how we can improve or reduce the antisocial behaviour of vehicles, and it is something we can look at with the council, especially if we get areas where there's lots of accidents. So in answer to your question, Mandy, yes, it is something that can be looked at, but we do it with the council at specific places where have lots of accidents or complaints. That makes sense. Right, so another one, this is one which, hot topic every time I do one of these, is from Sue, and that's about the enforcement of e-scooters. She does talk about, can we make them wear high-vis jackets, which you can't enforce someone to wear a high-vis jacket, but e-scooters, a subject that comes up. Gosh, even when I used to work in Portsmouth, there was a big subject there. So, Jabba, I know we've done an operation recently about e-scooters. Do you want to touch on that one for me?
Yeah. One of my dedicated neighbours officers, PC Steel, did an operation a couple of weeks ago now. I think we publicised it here on Gosport High Street, and we had managed to actually stop over 50 people using e-scooters and cycling down the high street. I know that causes a lot of issues for yourselves as residents. Over 50 tickets were issued to that, and we'd seized several e-scooters which went off to be crushed. So we are aware of it. PC Steel's doing another operation op circuit. We'll be doing another one soon, and hopefully, so over time, people will be aware that of the legalities around those e-scooters and cycling and using them down the high street and other areas.
Yeah. So also the antisocial behaviour around bikes. So we do get a lot of complaints about people cycling through the high street. Shayla, that's kind of your patch, isn't it?
Yeah, so my patch is the high street, and you get a lot of people, if I'm out and about, approach me with the issue of cycling up the high street. So that's a pedestrianised area, and myself as PCSO, I have the power to issue a fixed penalty notice. I'd more go towards words of advice, because not everyone does know that you're not allowed to cycle up the high street, but I can issue a fixed penalty notice, which is about £50 fine for riding down the high street or in a pedestrian area for fact.
Yeah, so the whole bit around e-scooters as well I'll touch on is, listen, e-scooters, if they're privately owned, can only be used on private premises. When you buy an e-scooter online or from one of the store, everybody kind of knows now that e-scooters are illegal to be used in a public place unless it's one of the schemes, Voi, other schemes like that, do the schemes across ports and across the area where you can use them legally. The reason they're legal is because they're insured and they're taxed and MOT'd. A privately one isn't, and that's why there's a difference. So for me, the government has done these trials across many cities, and they seem to work really well with regards to the schemes that you can pay to use. And I know the government eventually will make a decision whether privately e-scooters can be used legally. The challenge is, at the moment, if you use an e-scooter, a private one that you bought on a public highway, on road, it is illegal, and the consequences can be, in theory, we can seize it. We like to give a warning first, but we can seize it and destroy it. And I know how expensive they are. So we're coming up to Christmas. My point would be to any parents out there or anyone thinking about buying an e-scooter, just think hard about that, because yes, you can use it on a private premises, private road, but not in a public place. Now just think about where and who's going to be using that e-scooter. Right, so that's covered off a couple of questions online, covered off the e-scooter one. So Lee, have we got any questions coming at the moment? There's a couple of other things I can talk about, but anything coming online at the moment?
We've got a couple kind of asking about updates regarding Gosport Police Station and when that might be reopening.
Cracking hot topics. I know. The reason we laugh is because we've probably been asked about this one for a few years down here. So actually, I've been in Gosport Station today in the council offices since early this morning, and I've heard the drilling and noise coming from the old police station. So they've already started work on there. I think they're knocking down the old station houses, etc. But it is going to be developed. And we've got a meeting coming later this week with Donna and your local MP, Caroline Darnage. And when I say Donna, I mean the PCC. We're meeting with them later this week to look at the plans, which is really exciting. So my understanding is hopefully at some point next year, Gosport Old Police Station will be renovated. The neighbours team, Jabba, you're going to be moving your team in there. I think they're all excited about that.
Yeah, they're looking forward to that, having an old police station back again.
Brilliant. So they'll move into their purpose-built, hoping to get other teams in there, so the local CID team going there, hope the response team. So that will be a dedicated police station back to Gosport, which I think is the right thing to do. And the officers will love going into that new build. So yeah, that is coming. I know the PCC will be doing some statements about that coming up, but yes, literally they've broken ground there now and they're going to crack on with that. So it's really exciting. I think, Lee, does that cover that one off?
That covers that one off, yeah.
So the other thing I just wanted to touch on was over the last sort of 18 months, etc., there was an operation being run in Gosport, which we refer to as, and you named as Not in Our Town, which was a bit about sort of clear whole build, which is like a forces idea. You clear an area of crime and drugs, you hold the position, and then you build the community back up. And that was led by the previous inspector who was here, and now Jabba's sort of taken on the legacy of that a bit. What we found with that was a lot of clearing out some of the drugs lines that were in Gosport and some really, really big networks and county lines, and some significant sentencing that came off the back of that for some drug networks operating across Gosport. A lot of people were sent to prison for a lot of years. What we have seen is a reduction in antisocial behaviour around drug use. We haven't eradicated it, we know that, but it's had a huge impact. It's also, there was some courses and some rehabilitation courses put in for people who were using drugs and therefore shoplifting as a consequence. What we've seen is shoplifting has dropped significantly across Gosport. That drug use is reduced, and the antisocial behaviour around that, again, haven't got rid of it, but it's reduced significantly. So what I wanted to touch on there was working with partners to get people into rehab to stop them offending because of their addictions works, and some of the clear whole build strategy and Not in Our Town has shown some really, really good results. So I think the community of Gosport and our partners and the council and the PCC's office should be really, really proud of those efforts that got into that project in Gosport, because what we are seeing is continued reductions in shoplifting and antisocial behaviour in Gosport, which is, I think, I'm really, really pleased about. Jabba's sort of taken on a bit of that legacy, haven't you?
Yeah.
But we're hoping to continue to see that going forward. So, Lee, I'm coming just in case there's no questions. I've got lots of stuff to talk about, Joel.
No, we've got quite a few questions coming in, so thank you everybody. One from Councillor Leslie Meanigan. one focusing on barber shops, vape shops and nail bars appearing in the town. Occasionally those businesses can be cash only, and members of the public might have concerns around the potential legitimacy of certain businesses and stuff like that. What steps do the police, or are the police able to take in relation to
So I'm aware of the concerns around that, having worked in other areas which suffer the same issues and concerns. I'm looking at the moment at establishing a good working relationship with trading standards, because it is very much needs to be, like the boss said, led by other agencies as well. So trading standards will be the lead agency in relation to that, working with my officers here in Gosport town centre. And as long as they're operating legitimately and legally and going about their sort of daily business lawfully, they won't have anything to worry about. However, we'll be looking out for those businesses which may need a bit further investigation by trading standards, and assist them in potentially seizing the goods which aren't legal or legitimate, and hopefully leading to them leaving the town.
Yeah, that's a fair point, Jab. And I think, Shailen, when you work on the high street, you'll see a lot of these stores pop up, won't you? And then, and I think from Shailen's point of view, what you would, I don't want to say, but if people come and talk to you and tell you what their concerns about on the high street, then you feed that back into intelligence, don't you?
Yeah, like we log it all on our police system, so it's all noted, and we're just building that intel so we can feed it back to trading standards.
Yeah, so intelligence is a really interesting one. So when the community come and talk to us about things, so when you approach a police officer or you report it online or via one-on-one, your concerns around a store or a shop you think might be suspicious, just because we don't come back to you doesn't mean we're not listening. That all gets collated into information intelligence, and then Jabber and his team will think, well, do we need to do a warrant on a certain location and go through a door and start seizing some items? Do we need to speak to trading standards? Or do we push it up the line? And there are other departments from the Hampshire and Isle of Wight Constabulary who have significant resources and expertise in this area, because sometimes, you know, organised crime groups do operate across our counties, and we need that wider support. So I can assure you, when the council raises those concerns around certain types of shops, we're not ignoring it. We are out gathering evidence and intelligence, and on occasions we'll hit certain locations to make sure people understand that we won't accept criminality in our town. So I think, Lee, that kind of covers that one off. I understand those concerns, and we are aware and on it.
Yeah, and kind of supplementary to that as well, and Shane, it might be something that you could talk on as well. Concerns from residents regarding potential homelessness in the high street and street drinking around the Falkland Square area later into the evening. Now it's winter, it's darker earlier, potentially elderly residents feeling vulnerable. What steps are being taken to kind of reassure residents around that and ensure that the high street can feel safe for everybody throughout the day?
Okay, well, I mean, I suppose we need to say steps in terms of homelessness, or...
I think they're two separate issues there. So we've got homelessness as one issue, and potential begging on the streets, and then also street drinking later into the evening as well.
Okay. Shane, anything on that one about street drinking, or?
Yeah, so whenever we're out on patrol, we'll always approach and move them along, but we can put a thing called public space protection order in. So that's basically if they are drinking in the area and we give them a PSPO, then that basically means they need to disperse from the area. Yeah,
and it gives us a power of arrest as well in that area, so when people don't leave the area, we can arrest them. I think one time about that street drinking is a really good point. Jabba, we've had an increase in probably drinking in the high street, haven't we?
Yes.
You noticed, Nathan, you want to put a sort of a potential operation around that?
Yeah, so it's going to be launched imminently, Operation Night Safe. I'm aware that people are concerned about ASB in areas of a night time when the demand on the response teams is so much so that you may feel that it takes forever in a day to have an officer there to report your antisocial behaviour, whether it be about poor driving or street drinking or any whole host of things. So I thought the best way of doing that is to be from this office, from Gosport Police, dedicate a sergeant and 6 or so police officers as your dedicated antisocial behaviour team. They'll be patrolling the high street looking for antisocial behaviour by way of street drinking, and I'll go all the way up to places like Leon Solent as well, which experience their own fair share of antisocial behaviour. But by protecting and ring fencing those officers under that operation, which is night safe, hopefully we'll be able to have that team available as and when you need them to get there as quick as they can and deal with those issues long term, and so it's almost like a zero tolerance attitude towards them, and hopefully we'll manage it that way. Yeah,
what Jabba's really has noticed, that where the ferry service is reduced from Gosport going over to Portsmouth, what we're seeing is people now staying in Gosport to have a night out, that nighttime economy had kind of reduced over the years, but what we're now seeing, which is great for the local economy, is that we're starting to see more of a nighttime economy in Gosport High Street and some of the local bars. What comes with that is sometimes antisocial behaviour. So what Joe is alluding to is we want to have a response to that to make sure people understand how they should behave, and any locations where alcohol is being served, are they adhering to their licence, and do we need to hold them responsible if there is antisocial behaviour coming from that venue. So yeah, Lee, in relation to that alcohol and street drinking, I think that's addressed. Homelessness is very much a bigger piece for us to tie in with our partners. Sometimes people who are homeless might have some addiction issues or some support issues, or very, very vulnerable. And that's where we do well to tie in with our partners, and the Clear Hole Build strategy showed that working together to get people off the streets, to address those addiction issues and vulnerabilities, can reduce that. So going into the winter, there is support out there for people that are homeless, and we'll obviously make sure that our key people out on the ground, like Shaylin, are engaging with them and showing them where they can go to get some shelter.
Thank you very much. Do you want to refer to some of the previously asked questions, or do you want a couple more from online first?
Online, really, if that's okay, because most of the ones that were previously were about ASB of vehicles and stuff.
Yeah.
And I know, listen, ASB of vehicles, I look after Fareham as well, and it's a big bit there, especially the new bypass, people using that a bit like a racetrack, loud engines, loud exhausts. I think Fareham, we did an operation down there, gave out 150 speeding notices. It's an ongoing operation between Fareham and Gosport, especially the bypass, where we're working with our partners and the council to see what traffic calming measures are in place, and we will be using mobile speed cameras and holding those accounts. So we did a lot over the summer, and it will continue to carry on, because I know loud engines and those exhausts are really frustrating.
Perfect. So I'm just going to refer to the question that has just gone away from me. Sorry. What steps are being taken in regards to the Gosport bus route and enabling that to run as the service should throughout the day?
Okay, so we know the bus route, the old train line, which is a great product, had some issues early in the summer with regards to ASB and some vandalism, etc. Javid, do you want to cover this one off?
Yeah, that was Require was set up. We work together with Fareham neighbourhoods teams predominantly, and indeed the response teams, to patrol that as much as we can. However, I know it's experienced its fair share of ASB, indeed widely publicised that it stopped using. They are now using it up to a certain time. I'm working with the Hampshire County Council. We're going to look at putting in force a greater sort of CCTV presence and footfall on the ground of security personnel, mixture of police and other partners. So moving forward, we are looking at making that a better place to be for the buses. I hope they'll start using it again. We're in talks with First Bus, I think it is, that run it. So yeah, that's an ongoing operation. More officers go up there and patrol as often as they can do. And it's an ongoing sort of issue that we are trying to manage. It has gotten better, obviously, since the summer has been and gone. We'll keep working with them, and hopefully with Hampshire County Council, it will be open full time again.
Yeah, so it's one of those things, isn't it? It's run by the bus service. It's the responsibility to get that line open is with them, but we will help them make sure it feels secure and safe for people using that bus route, because we know how popular it is. What I will say to anyone who thinks going to the line and causing ASB or criminal damage is, I'm telling you now, we are out there. We've got officers out doing overt patrols. That means they're out in uniform, patrolling their area, and we will have officers there in plain clothes, checking all the locations along that route. So anybody caught trying to cause antisocial behaviour or damage, you will be caught, you will be held accountable, and we will prosecute you. So it's just that open message. This is a service that the community needs and wants. It's running really, really well, but be quite open and clear about this. Anybody who thinks they're going to behave in that way will be dealt with. It's quite simple as that.
We've got another question from Isabel, which is in regards to theft from a shop and kind of shoplifting around, especially around the Christmas period, but throughout the year. Kind of what steps are being taken across Gosport to tackle shoplifting issues in the community?
Okay, Trevor?
Yeah, we're taking quite a zero tolerance approach to that. I know last month, one officer alone had dealt with 14 shopliftings and dealt with by one perpetrator. Like I said, we are trying our best to address those concerns. As long as the premises that are being targeted have sort of suitable CCTV and can give us the evidence we need, then more officers will push forward and will deal with it. So it has very much been in the news for the last year or so. We are very much aware of what stance to take on that. and yeah, we are going to send these people to court as many times as we have to.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Shane, do you do much shoplifting or when you're out and about?
Yeah, I deal with a lot of shoplifting, but I work quite closely with the shops and the managers of the shops to get the correct CCTV and statements that we need to be able to prosecute them.
Good. Yeah, I think shoplifting is a hot topic, and especially right at Christmas time, it can tend to increase. There's two things really. First, you want to work out why are people shoplifting, and that's where we talk about people with addiction issues, or or sometimes organised crime groups do coordinate high value shoplifting. It's trying to work out who's doing it and why. What we do across the district, Fareham and Gosport, we have a monthly meeting where we discuss all of our priorities for the area. So we discuss about the nighttime economy in Gosport, or we'll talk about antisocial behaviour of vehicles on the new bypass, and we'll work out how over the next month we're going to use our resources to target those issues. What we do at every month of that meeting, it's called our tactical planning meeting, what we do at that meeting is I ask Jabba to give me his top 2 or 3 shoplifters for Gosport, and we do the same with Fareham, and my expectations for the month is we target those individuals that either have been arrested and remanded into custody, or we've held them accountable, whether that's through charging or they've been arrested, property searched and made their lives really difficult. So every month I want my top 3 or 4 shoplifters for each area, and Jab and his team have that challenge to have them all arrested, and then also to try and work out what is the problem with them, what is the challenge, why are they shoplifting, is it addiction issues, are they being controlled, are they vulnerable, and we try and give them a pathway away from that avenue. What we found with that tactic since I've been in post for the last 14 months is we have seen a significant reduction in shoplifting across Gosport, around that, the clear hold bill strategy of getting people in rehabilitation and holding the prolific offenders. And when I talk about prolific offenders, I'm talking about the same person that could be responsible for 5, 10, 15, 20 shopliftings in a 48-hour period. So what we've seen is a significant reduction in that prolific offending because we're targeting those main offenders. So I hope that gives you some reassurance that Jabba and the team and Shailin know how to deal with this. We have seen that reduction, and we'll continue to target those people because, if you work in a shop, and especially an independent shop or even a chain, a large chain, it takes a big chunk of your margin, your profit away. I do recognise that, and I know how impactful it can be, especially around Christmas. So I would say continue to report it, tell us about it, and if you get images of individuals on the CCTV, we'll be able to communicate with you and get those links. And if we don't know who those suspects are, we share them internally, and we often do sometimes leave on the camera. We'll do media releases of images of people. You'll see it on our Gosport Live, our Gosport Facebook page, trying to identify those people, and I know people know who they are, and then we can hold them accountable. So hopefully that covers off and reassures you about how we're targeting shoplifting in Gosport. Lee, anything else?
Yeah, Councillor Stephen Ricketts, he's stated about working with Jabba around ASB issues in Leon Solent. It's not specified, but I think some of that is probably related to vehicle ASB, which we know is a bit of a community issue. So what steps are being taken to tackle specifically antisocial behaviour related to vehicles and excessive noise late in the evening in certain areas in our communities?
Yeah, I've spoken to Councillor Ricketts about that issue. It's a tricky one because a lot of it is by design. You've got a big long coastal road, and it will attract car parks on the seafront will attract a certain sort of person who wants to go around and show off their vehicle and drive with their loud exhaust, etc. And it causes a nuisance to the local populace of Leon Solent. As I said previously, I am getting officers trained in the speed gun device, 12 officers here at this office, so linked in with Operation Night Safe, they will be able to monitor speed and issue for speeding penalty notices to those motorists who do believe it's okay to exceed the speed limit. We can obviously seize their vehicles if on 2 occasions those vehicles are seen or witness evidence being driving in an antisocial manner. It's a question of getting officers up there dedicated to managing those antisocial behavioural issues. So, like I say, under that operation, Leon Solent will be on their radar, and they will be tasked to look at antisocial behaviour in the way of driving, the manner in which people are driving. So we are looking at. I know it's a problem for the people of Leon Solent. I get it, and we are looking to address it.
Yeah, that's fair, Joel. I think since I've been in post, again about 14 months, Leon Solent is the area, especially during the summer, because it's such a lovely place to go to. It's really pretty. We get, I go down there with my family, and the seafront does lend itself sometimes to e-scooters and to cars driving at speed, especially late in the evening. I know they gather outside. So we have done a number of operations down there in the last year. Our road policing unit have been down there as well. We've had our bike cops down there targeting individuals, and I know Jab has already done quite a bit already, and it has reduced. The amount of complaints we've got coming in from our community down there has reduced. We haven't eradicated it. Quite frankly, if someone chooses to have a car with a loud exhaust and engine on it and drive it late at night on a road, well, quite frankly, they're out of order, aren't they? So we need to try and locate them and hold them accountable for actions, because there's just no need for it, quite frankly. And it's the same with loud motorbikes. So we know how that noise can spread across, and it is, I get it, is upsetting and disturbing. So where we can do, we'll hold people accountable, and we know what they really, really love is their vehicles. They spend a lot of money on them. So our job is to hold them accountable and make sure they use it in a really, really appropriate manner. Okay, right. I think to be fair, a lot of our questions so far have been around the antisocial behaviour of vehicles, and it's an ongoing thing because we live, Gosport, some really lovely areas to Gosport, the seafront, etc., all the way through to Fareham, and it's always going to be an ongoing challenge to try and address every single individual who wants to drive in an antisocial behaviour manner, but it's not always going to be an ongoing theme for us that we will try and address as much as we can with our partners.
Thank you. Just having a quick look and see which other ones we can pull out as well.
It's half an hour already we've done.
It's flying by, hasn't it? There's a little bit which I suppose isn't specific to Gosport, but I think it'd be interesting for us just to raise and to talk on as well, in terms of encouraging more people to come into working within policing and obviously supporting their communities. I'm sure that's something that you could...
We're talking about recruitment here, Lee.
A little bit, but I think it's something that's been raised in terms of encouraging people to come in and try and support their towns with
so
something you want to talk on briefly. I know it's not specific.
No. So it's something I'm really passionate about. So listen, British policing kind of runs on the Pelian principles of we are the police, and the public are the police, and the police are the public. We work by cooperation. It's unique to any other policing model in the world. What I would say is two things really, is that we desperately need the community to keep talking to us and feel they can engage with us, whether that's submitting information, submitting intelligence, or reporting crimes and antisocial behaviour to us, whether that's via where it's online, via 101, and obviously 999 in an emergency. That is really, really important to us, that people keep talking to us and feel that we are approachable. And I think that works really, really well. The other side of that is, sort of recruitment. I think today I saw we have like an internal media post that go on our Teams channels, and there's a post today I've seen of 32 new officers on the new fast track detective programme, and new police officers at Netley, our training base, all there day one. It's so exciting when I go into Netley and I see all the new student police officers down there, because they're just full of energy and enthusiasm. It's brilliant. We need to keep that coming. From my perspective, I would love to see lots of new people coming through from Gosport and Fareham, going to our website and looking to join. We are recruiting. It is a great career. I've been in 21 years. I left a different industry to join when I was 27. I was a PC in Portsmouth for the first 8 years, driving around a car in the city, was just brilliant. And I've worked all over the county, done some amazing jobs. I've worked on the Southampton Portsmouth fixture. I was up at Aldershot this weekend working on the Aldershot Woking game. I look after Fareham and Gosport. It's such a diverse career. Jab, you started your career in Gosport, didn't you?
I did, in 2000. I started here as a student officer. Walking up and down the high street, unable to drive patrol vehicles. So I was on foot with my big hat, come wind, rain or storm or anything like that. But it was really good fun. Hence me being so pleased to come back to Gosport. I'll also say Gosport always had a really good relationship with the specials as well, special constabulary. So if you're not too sure if you want to commit as a full-time job to join the police, then why not think about maybe becoming a special, seeing if you like it or if it's for you. Because Gosport, even back when I joined, had such a great relationship with those specials, and they were dedicated, hard working, they'd come in as often as they could do. They were just treated as a part of the team. It may be something you want to look into. And I'm sure details are on the website, and you can come and speak to any of us with regards to that. We'd be happy to answer any questions you got.
And it's not just about police officers and our specials. Obviously, PCSOs play a huge part in our role. So, Shayla, how long have you been with us for?
About 2 years now. Started my journey in Gosport, and I'm still here. But my role's really good. You go out and you engage with the community face to face, so you can build that rapport with people, and people like to see a familiar face, especially with the police. That break down that barrier and just have a conversation.
Brilliant. So I think my message will always be, if you're thinking about it, we do sort of ride along, as it were. So you can go onto our website and look at, if you want to think, I want to see what it's like to come out the police, you can come out and do ride alongs as well. If you want to think, is this something I want to do? Or you want to just approach a police officer and ask what the job's like. I love it. I was really enjoying it. I think we're both 20 years in, and Jade was at the start of her career. What I would say is go onto our website. If you're thinking about it, apply and start going through the process. And I can't emphasise enough how over the last 20 years it has changed a lot. Policing, it has developed a lot, but we are a family, and we'd like to keep recruiting into our business, as it were. And we only function if people come and join us. So yeah, Lee, you'll answer that question. We're open for business. We are recruiting significantly. And I would say, if you've got any idea, think maybe you want to give some back to the community, join the police, whether there's a PCSO, a PC, potentially a detective program, or as a staff member, please think about it. Thank you.
Perfect. I think there's a question from a few people on here, which is in regards to street lighting and CCTV, which I appreciate are issues that also sit with your local authority as well. So I think it'd be interesting to give a bit of insight into how do we work with local community partners in terms of what we're doing in Gosport to make the community safer, and to kind of voicing those concerns that members of the public have, where we can work with the local council, for example.
Gemma?
Yeah, it's something I am passionate about. Obviously, we don't staff the CCTV or anything like that. I know we are looking into that. And my stance as the police inspector here at Gosport will always be that it's a useful tool to have as a police force in a town. Things like shop watch and things like that, with regards to shoplifting as well, going back to that question as well. Things like shop watch and pub watch and things like that are really useful. So I'm working with partners. I think we can try and look in some way of getting those things back into the community, into the local business district, moving forward. So yeah, I'm in negotiations with the Gosport Borough Council, Hampshire County Council, and things like that, and just sort of having a policing perspective on things like CCTV and radios that we can use, and hopefully we'll work towards getting those things up and used by the people that need them.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be a positive thing.
Yeah, I think, and John makes a good point actually. A lot of ASB and a lot of these issues aren't just policing issues; they're partnership issues. That's why we work really closely with our community safety partner. And with Gosport Council, for issues like the CCTV, we know it being turned off a long time ago, a few years ago. We know it's being addressed. We know we are getting more CCTV into the county to add that level of reassurance into Gosport. So Jab was right. It's not just an us issue with regards to things like CCTV and street lighting. We don't control street lighting. What we can do though is influence our partners to try and suggest actually where we should have more street lighting, where we can get CCTV, to find that reassurance piece. So it's not us alone, it's not our budgets, and I know, but we do, listen, our offices here are based within the council offices as well, so we speak to them daily, but yeah, definitely an ongoing challenge with regards to CCTV, but something I know Jabber and the team are trying to address.
We've covered off a lot of the questions that we've been asked so far, and we'll be responding to comments that have been posted as well with relevant links where that would be of use. Are there any other things that you'd like to pick up just in the interim whilst we see if anyone else has any comments?
Yeah, sure. So there's, I think Gosport fascinates me in terms of its, what is a peninsula town that runs down and, the high street is actually at the end of the town. It's had its fair share of high profile events. We've got, even though currently there's the investigation in relation to the funeral homes that's on at Portsmouth Crown Court. We've got the immigration centre that in theory is opening up at some point next year, which brings its own challenges. But I know we're well engaged with partners over that, and Operation Magenta, which is obviously the investigation to Gosport War Memorial. So many high profile things happen for a town of this size, but also what I really want to emphasise on is in the last sort of year to 14 months is how much crime and social behaviour, shoplifting, serious violence has reduced in Gosport. That's not by luck, that's not by coincidence, that is by the hard work of your local neighbours teams, your response teams based out of Fair and Reach, and your CRD teams, and support from the Police Crime Commission with regards to budgets to that clear whole build strategy that we talked about, trying to eradicate any drug dealing and county lines that come into Gosport. all of that, and I will say success because it is success, is an ongoing challenge for Gosport. We've got to stay on top of it. You've got to keep telling us about the information intelligence, about antisocial behaviour, any drug dealing. All of that information helps us build the picture to go again and target people who make other people's lives a misery. I do not apologise for going after individuals, and I can name a few of them, obviously I won't, people that are making people's lives a misery, and we will come for them and we will target them and hold them accountable to reduce that misery that's going on. So we've done it in the past and we'll continue to do it, but we only do it by working with you, the community, to make sure we can really make the most of the policing resources you've got down here and make the most of targeting people who make other people's lives a misery. So I hope that's clear, and that's our ambition. Lee, anything else that we haven't covered off?
I'm seeing we've had a few kind of repeat questions. So for anybody who's asked in regards to e-bikes and antisocial behaviour with vehicles, the live video you'll be able to rewatch once this is concluded. So those questions have been covered off earlier in the video. So you can go and rewatch that afterwards, and Marcus, Jabber and Shaylin have provided their answers there.
Okay.
There's nothing that hasn't been covered just yet. I'm just seeing if anything else is going to come through.
That's okay. So I think main things we get asked about is the police station. It's coming and it's opening, and I've been heard the noise today from that. With regards to antisocial behaviour in the vehicles, I think we've covered off enough that it's an ongoing operation for us to target antisocial behaviour vehicles. What we haven't had actually, so we have an operation where we target, we get large groups of high-powered vehicles coming to an area, and over the years we've had quite a bit of that coming into Fareham and Gosport, where you get the car meets coming. We haven't had any for a long time in Fareham and Gosport because we've targeted any antisocial behaviour of those vehicles. We've seized vehicles. Our roads policing unit backs up on that. So whilst you hear individual vehicles, that large car meet hasn't happened for a long time because we're really proactive in targeting any criminality in that space. I'm trying to think of any other things we want to address. Leon Solar, we've talked about e-scooters, antisocial behaviour vehicle, High Street. Jabba has rightfully highlighted that actually he thinks that since he's landed here, how long have you been in there, Jabba?
About 4 months or so, 4 months.
Jabba's highlighted that actually he thinks, and he's being honest, that we probably could give the High Street some more attention with regards to policing. Is that fair?
I'm trying to get more boots on the ground in the High Street. Like we said, it is growing in its popularity of an evening as well, and that's only a good thing for the town, I think. It was a nice town. And certainly with the bus station being demolished, I think that the plans for that will be really positive. Places to eat, places to drink, and I think it's only right that you have a policing response to that as well. Not because it'll be a problem, but because it's only right that you feel safe when you're having a night out, and Gosport is only growing in popularity. So with that, you'll have an increased policing response.
Brilliant.
So I'm pushing officers to go out there, make sure it's on one of their patrol areas, and hopefully you'll see more officers on the ground.
Thank you. And then, Lee, just before we cover off any more questions, if we ever got any, but the other thing I want to cover off is just about police officers, and genuinely how hard police officers and peace community officers and PCSOs work non-stop. Okay, the myth of officers sitting in stations eating donuts. Well, I'm not adverse to a donut, but I'm telling you now, it's a myth. The police officers that work for you in Gosport, and the PCSOs and the staff, work tirelessly, work really long hours, and they just don't stop trying to actually improve the environment that you live in and for you. So I just want to really emphasise, officers based at Fareham Reach, the response cops, they work they're so busy, and our response times, so getting to those emergency calls, are some of the best in the force. So for Gosport, getting to those urgent calls, we have to be there in a certain time frame. We have some of the best response times in the whole of the force because they are so keen to get out there and get that support that you need. And the same with your local neighbours teams as well. They back up on a lot of those jobs. I just want to really emphasise, I've got a lot of people that work with me across Fareham and Gosport, and I just really want to emphasise to you how hard they really, really do work. So don't be afraid to stop them, have a chat in the street and engage with them, because that's really what they want to hear about, the positive and sometimes the negative feedback from you, so we can improve the service. Okay, Lee, anything else?
The one final thing that's come up a couple of times that I've just seen is in regards to kind of the opportunity to have like face-to-face questions with officers and stuff like that. Now, Shane, I know that some PCSOs, you attend community events as well, don't you? So do you just want to talk a little bit about how you kind of attend community events and that kind of public facing side of what you do as well to reassure the community, if you're comfortable?
Yeah, so normally if there is an issue going on in your area, sometimes we turn up to the events and you can ask us questions, and that way you can see us working with our partners and how in one place where we might not be able to cover that area, the council can help out, and it's good to be able to talk with you as the community and with our partners all in one area. Also, when I'm out in the high street, people come up and have a chat with me, and it's nice to have that face-to-face interaction. You're not just behind a screen.
There are beat surgeries, aren't there? I think I was at Garden Centre
Yeah.
in the village last month, I think it was.
Yeah.
We do have beat surgeries. I'll come along if I'm able to with my officers. We can come up and talk about any issues, if you've got any concerns, or just say hello.
And I know this summer we did summer passport, so a couple of the officers were there with the kids, like showing them what it's kind of the job's about, and just kind of engaging with the younger crowd as well.
Yeah, I think also don't be afraid if you're part of a community group and you want us to come and visit and you want the PCs to come and we can do that. We go to lots of events across Gosport, so don't be afraid to ask us to come and visit you or come to your event and try and engage. If we can build it into their busy schedules, we will. It's simply, if you don't tell us, don't engage with us, then we don't know what it is you need. So yeah, I think Shannon's covered that really well. Thanks.
And I know you can visit the Hampshire and Isle of Wight Constabulary website and find out information about the beat surgeries as well from the website, but I'll post a link to that in the comments after this as well.
Lee's frantically reading, aren't you?
Yeah, I believe there's a Vorg beat surgery this week as well, so I will put that in the comments too.
Yeah, we got 4 coming up.
So violence against women and girls.
But yeah,
Yeah.
against women and girls, yeah, that's cancelled.
Throughout this week and next week, we've got 4 beat surgeries down the high street. So look out for us. But all the information will be put on Facebook.
Yeah, share that as well. That pretty much brings us to a close on everything that we have received within the comments. Like I've said, I will be sharing relevant links for any questions that we have that information on the website for.
Yeah.
If you've asked questions about specific topics, ASB, e-bikes, they've been answered earlier on in this live, so you can go back and watch that as well. But I think that pretty much brings us to the end of everything that we've been asked. So
Brilliant, thanks
Thank
Lee.
you very much.
So it's about 45 minutes, so we've done what we thought we'd say. The last bit of me would just be about a plea to anybody. I said it earlier. If you have information, intelligence about your community, if you want to tell us stuff, by all means go online. You can do it at Monitoring and Crime Stoppers. You can report and speak to us via 101 or online, or like I said, an emergency 999. If you don't tell us, we just don't know. It's as simple as that. But finally, I'd say thanks, Jabba, for your time. It's been a long day.
That's been good.
And Shaylin, I know you've come down to help us today. You've been travelling today, so thank you for helping us down today. And Lee, thanks for your help. So yeah, thanks everybody for your engagement. If you want to continue asking questions in the chat underneath, by all means throw them in, because I know some people watch this later on in the day, and we'll get, in the next 24 hours or so, we'll get back and get some answers to you as well. So thanks everyone for your time.